まだまだ暑い日が続きますが、買い物や仕事の合間で一息つきたい時にありがたいのが喫茶店ですよね。コーヒーはちょっと苦手という方の中には、気軽にお茶が楽しめるゴンチャがお気に入りという方もいらっしゃるのではないでしょうか。今回はゴンチャブランドのグローバルチェアマンを務めるマーティン・ベリーさんにお話を伺います。ゴンチャは2006年に台湾で設立され、香港や韓国、シンガポールなどのアジアに店舗を広げ、日本では2015年からブランド展開しています。それではマーティさん、本日はよろしくお願いいたします。日本国内でおよそ120店舗、グローバルでは20カ国、およそ1850店舗を運営しているゴンチャですが、改めて商品の魅力についてマーティさんはどのようにお考えですか？
Sure. So I think there's two elements to the success of Gongcha. Number one is that it's just a really, really great tasting product. We spend a lot of time on sourcing the best quality teas from all over the world. We have our special recipes of how we brew the tea fresh, in the kitchen. So basically a big success component of Gongcha is just how fantastic the product tastes. Yeah, and I think the second important part of why Gongcha has been quite successful as well is the fact that from a franchise perspective, it's a very attractive business for people who want to be entrepreneurs but don't want to start their own business. We offer them a very attractive franchise program, and that's how we've been able to grow very successfully.
マーティさんはオーストラリアのご出身だそうですが、もともと台湾で設立されたゴンチャとシンガポールで出会って、それを韓国で出店されたそうですね。どのような理由でそのような展開になったのでしょうか？
So one day I was in Singapore and I was walking through the shopping mall and I saw this big long line of people queuing up and I was like, what is this? And I was like, Gongcha.So I had lived and worked in Korea before and I knew the market quite well. I worked there in banking and my wife is Korean. And so I met the original founders and I pitched to them, why I wanted the franchise for the Korean market into starting Gongcha Korea. And it was a big success. We went from around 0 to 300 stores in just 3 years. And so I was thinking a lot about how to build the business bigger. So then I came to Japan and spent time walking around Japan, and I could see a lot of similarities with Korea in terms of consumer behavior, like young females drinking lots of Starbucks, which is similar to what was happening in Korea. So I thought to myself, I think Japan could be a really big opportunity. So then bought Gongcha to Japan here in Omotesando, and it was a huge, huge success. Bought out the founder from Taiwan, so that we owned the entire company and owned the brand. So that sort of tells you a bit the story of how things progressed.
現在、20カ国で店舗を運営されていますが、他国と比較して日本市場や消費者に対してどのような印象をお持ちですか？
American market, the Australian market, we tend to sell a lot more pure teas that are less sugar, maybe no milk, and more just tea that is rich in antioxidants and polyphenols and lots of health benefits. But surprising thing is in Japan, for me, is Japanese consumers, especially young girls who can afford to drink sweet things, they actually very much like sweet products, whether it be like, crepes or pancakes or things, and very much Gongcha. So you can make your own drink at Gongcha, which is one of our exciting things, and surprisingly most consumers choose a very high sugar level because they love the sweet taste. So that for me was a bit surprising versus some of the more Western markets. But from Japan's perspective, it's quite similar to the rest of Asia, that people really like a sweet, milky Gongcha drink.
日本ではゴンチャを若い女性が中心に買われると思うんですが、マーティンさんはその日本の市場をどのように分析されていますか？
Our typical what we call sweet spot target consumer is typically your teenage schoolgirl who after school a bit of a social experience together, they go and get a drink, they share it. That's why we like to say brewing happiness, having fun time together. So one sort of sweet spot target consumer is that group. So a lot of sort of female office workers in their 20s to early 30s will buy a gongcha on the way back to the office, and then you'll see them drinking it in the office through the afternoon.
日本国内ではコロナ禍前と比べて店舗数が倍以上になっていますが、飲食店が苦戦する中、どのようにして店舗数を増やしていったんでしょうか？
So firstly, we're lucky that our customers really love our product and are very loyal to the Gongcha brand. So a big thank you to all our customers, during COVID that we were able to roll out delivery, and a lot of customers switched to delivery of Gongcha instead of just coming to the store. So that helped our sales tremendously. So, I think it's that customer loyalty that is fantastic that I talked about. And secondly, that, because our franchise model is really quite attractive, it's quite a profitable model, it means that, our franchisees can expand and survive during a difficult time when you saw many other brands closing stores, even leaving the country. So amazingly, during COVID, we've grown our store count globally by nearly 20%. So we've added about 500 stores around the world during COVID. So hopefully that means we're doing something right for customers and our franchise partners, that while others are struggling, we continue to grow and get stronger.
日本の店舗数は増えているということですが、一方で日本での課題は何かありますか？
Yeah, I think there's two kind of what we'd say headwinds that are slowing things a little down. One is, just the tourism due to obviously COVID. So we can see in markets like the US, in markets like Australia, in markets like the UK, a lot of our sales are higher than even before COVID now. The sales have come back very, very strongly. But in certain markets like Japan especially, and a little bit Korea and a few other Asian markets, the sales haven't come back quite as strongly. And a lot of that reason is just the lack of tourism. Like Sonoda-san and our team here in Japan are getting ready that, once the borders do get opened up, as you know, there's many research studies out there that show that Japan is the #1 place most people want to visit for tourism. When that happens, we think the sales are really going to boom up because a lot of Asian consumers want to come to Japan. They know our brand, they already drink our product, and so we think that will be a big lift to our sales, once Japan decides to open back up again. Yeah, and then the second tailwind is obviously the Japanese yen, 143 today. So when you're importing product, obviously, with a weaker yen, it's meaning that, it has some impact. So that'll eventually sort itself out. But, tourism and a weak yen are kind of the two headwinds we face right now. But our business is still doing great despite all these challenges. Yeah, and just like as a data point, if we compare our sales to the same time last year, in Japan, our sales are up around 15%. So, our sales are growing back stronger and stronger. So it's a very encouraging sign. But yeah, I think Japan needs those tourists to come in and stimulate the economy.
今後、日本市場での新たな展開や目標を教えてください。
So if I look at Korea as an example, half the population of Japan, the consumer behavior is quite similar, and we have nearly 850 stores in Korea. I personally think we could go to 1,000 stores, but our target is now we want to go after 500 stores in Japan and be absolutely the number one tea brand in the market. And more importantly, we just want to brew happiness for lots of Japanese consumers. That's the most important thing. So that's our ambition and our target over the next sort of 5 years is to have more than 500 Gongcha stores around Japan.
今年7月、グローバル CEO にポール・レイニッシュ氏が就任しました。就任の背景や新体制となったゴンチャの今後のグローバル展開について教えてください。
So I think the team have done a great job getting us to where we've got to. We're now 1,850 stores, and I think that's something to celebrate. But we have a much bigger ambition. Our ambition is to get to 10,000 stores around the world by 2030. And so one thing I'm very conscious of is the fact that you need expertise in running large-scale F&B operations to take this business to the next level. And Paul brings extensive experience, having worked for big brands like Subway, Burger King, Five Guys, all over the world. And so he brings a deep understanding of the F&B market and the franchise business that someone like myself doesn't have. So, I think that's very important to help take the business to the next level. Yeah, and I think just finally another great thing that he brings is that, he has global experience, but he's also got deep experience in our two biggest markets, which are Japan and Korea. He worked for Baskin-Robbins, he's lived in Japan before, so he knows this market and he knows Korea as well as he knows global. So I think that's what made him also the perfect fit to take Gongcha to the next level.
本日はお話を聞かせていただきありがとうございました。
ありがとうございます。
コロナ禍以前、ゴンチャの国内店舗数はおよそ50でしたが、現在は120を超えているそうです。飲食店が苦戦する中、ゴンチャの人気ぶりが伺えます。マーティンさんは今後、日本市場で500店舗を目指すとおっしゃっていたのが印象的でした。今年7月に販売したピーチミルクティーは予想を超える人気で、一時販売見合わせになったほどでした。新しいお茶の味わい方を次々と提案するゴンチャの今後の展開が楽しみです。